We got our 3-stage water filtration, the SureFlow accumulator tank, and water pump.
Look at this chunk of beef. Look at that.
So here's what's going on the outside. Just installed that 65-gallon freshwater. We got it mounted up with Unistrut, sucked up to the bottom frame of the box between the front of the tank and the battery. I'll mount a board, and that's where I'll install the water pump, the accumulator tank, and my 3-stage water filtration system. Oh man, the rain is picking up out there. Sure, I'm grateful to be in my tiny home. Comfortable, dry. So I brought all the components with me so I'd be able to kind of line it out as it's gonna sit on this board right here. It's a piece of 3/4 ply. I coated the edges with some rubberized spray paint. I think I'm gonna go over the whole thing with black just to black it out so it doesn't stand out when it's mounted down under the rig. But anyway, here's my 3-stage water filtration. I have my accumulator tank, and then I have my water pump. Here's a strainer basket. It goes like that. So what'll happen is the pump will pull water from my fresh tank into the pump. It's gonna push it out into the accumulator, and then the accumulator will push it out into my 3-stage filtration. And then on the output of the filtration, it's gonna run into my box truck, into my sink and my shower. So basically I need to get some braided tube, and then I'll, bring it down, loop it, come around, back up, and then out of this side I'll have to loop it down, bring it around, come back up. So, it'll be a little loopy, just like me, but I don't want the connections to be too tight. I don't want them like this where there's no room for hose or flex in between. I'm gonna run into Home Depot right now, grab some tubing, and then come back and we'll start putting this thing together. Hello my friends, we made it back from Home Depot. We got a lot of fittings, a lot of the things we need. They didn't have a couple things though. You never know with Home Depot quite what you're gonna get. So they didn't have any braided poly tube, which is what I really need to make all these connections. You don't want to use regular, just standard strength poly tube, because when the water pump flexes, it can cause the poly tube to expand and then your pump doesn't work properly. So you want to get the poly tube that's reinforced. It has like a nylon braiding through it. Anyway, they didn't have it. Not in the size I need. So fortunately, Lowe's is right across the street. In fact, you can see it out my beautiful window. Right over there, off in the distance, there's the Lowe's building. Alrighty, let's go check it out, see if Lowe's has the poly tube we need. We're back from Lowe's. They had the goods. This is the braided poly tubing that I was talking about. It has this nylon woven piece in between. It makes the pipe super rigid, so when you use it with a water pump, it doesn't flex. Since the poly tube is a little more stiff, it's reinforced. That just means it's a little less flexible. So you gotta convince it a little bit if you're doing a tight angle. So the first thing I'm gonna do is use some Teflon thread tape, some plumber's tape, and we're gonna put that around the threaded portion. That'll just help prevent any types of leaks in the threads. Just wrap it around a couple times, like that. And then we'll put this piece on, lock it down. Oh, wait a minute. I was gonna mount the water pump like this on the board. The way this is all laid out, the water comes in from this side, it exits this side, but I just noticed at the last minute the arrows are opposite. The water in this pump has to flow from the right to the left. So I'm gonna have to mount the pump upside down, which it's fine, it'll work in any position, but they typically recommend when you mount it, you have the electronics up in case the pump has a leak, then water won't drip down onto the components. But we don't have a choice here, we're gonna do it upside down. So if there's a water leak, it could, you know, get onto the electrical stuff, but we're gonna roll the dice, baby. That's van life, we're just rolling dice out here. So here's what the water system looks so far. We got a little swoop on the output from the accumulator into the filtration system, and then now we got to hook up from the outlet of the pump another little swoop into the accumulator. So we'll go ahead and slide in a hose clamp, get this thing secured. There we go. And then that'll kind of give us an idea what kind of bending we can do on this braided line. So here's our water system mounted to a white board. We got the water pump, water's coming in through a 1/2-inch rigid PVC from the tank. The pump is pulling it in, it's pushing it out through this included barbed fitting through 1/2-inch inside diameter braided poly tube. It's coming up, doing a little swoop, going into this accumulator tank, which is just helping deliver an even pressure through your water system. It also just prevents the pump from short cycling. Comes through here, and then it goes out through the same barbed fitting and 3/8 braided poly tube, or a 1/2-inch inside diameter poly tube. Does another little swoop, and then goes into my 3-stage filtration system from the RV water filter store, and then it goes out into 1/2-inch PVC again. That'll go under the truck over to my faucet and my shower. So that's the system ready to rock. It's a little unconventional. You know, a lot of people would have hard piped it. They would have used PEX. There's many ways to plumb a water system, but I feel real good about this, real confident about it. Another nice thing about this water system is it's going to be living outside my vehicle, up underneath the box mounted to the frame. So if for some reason something does happen to leak, it's just leaking water onto the ground, not into my home. A lot of people are going to say this stuff should be inside your vehicle because what about freezing temperatures, all that kind of stuff? And I say it's all going to work out just fine. I've considered it, and it's all going to be good. I don't spend time in cold places. You know, I'm not up at the mountains skiing in the winter. I'm a nomad. I travel so that I can avoid the cold weather and the very hot weather. So I'm not going to be in any crazy low temps. All right, my friends, it is dinner time. We're still at it in the Lowe's parking lot. Sun's slowly going down. It's about 5:30 p.m. The days are getting shorter as winter approaches. So it's time to make some food tonight. So when I'm staying in cities, traveling around, sleeping at night in parking lots on the streets, what I like to do is make dinner in a different location from where I stay the night. Because usually when I'm making dinner, I'm moving around, I got the windows open, I'm cooking, it's pretty obvious what's going on. And so I want to get that done somewhere where I'm not really going to be hanging out at for much longer, and then I take off. And then that way, when I go find a spot to stay for the evening, I can just kind of slide right in, turn everything off, and just kind of be quiet and pretty unnoticeable inside the rig. So that's my typical plan. That's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to cook dinner here in the Lowe's, eat dinner here in the Lowe's, and then we're going to cruise down the road a little bit and find a spot to stay for the evening. Really liking this fridge, by the way. For any of you guys wondering, this is the Dometic 4.3 cubic foot 12 volt compressory fridge. refrigerator. It's cool. It's got this little latch on it, so when you're driving, you flip it over. That keeps the doors from popping open. And then when you're parked, you just flip it the other way. And then you can reach in, get the goodies. So I have, hopefully this is, oh no, it's not thawed yet. That's crazy. I have this stew meat that I bought at this meat market a while ago. I can't believe it's not thawed yet. Anyway, some of it is thawed, so we'll cook the thawed stuff. Anyway, no worries. So we'll have some of that tonight. And then I already have some veggie mix. It's sliced up cucumber with red and orange peppers in olive oil and vinegar marinade. So we'll have some of that. We'll use some butter for cooking. I ran out of beef tallow lately, and so I've been using butter to coat the pan. It's working out pretty well. And what else do we want? Let's get some onion. We got some onion down here. And we're going to do some potatoes as well. What do we got here? Apples, a tomato. We'll save that tomato for breakfast. Okay, I think that's all we need for now. I also don't have any lighting installed in the rig yet, so we're just working with whatever Mother Nature provides. Don't have my full electrical installed. We're using extension cords. We're making it happen today, man. We still got the temporary Blue Eddy. We're rocking with the Apex 300. Currently sitting at 99% charge. I just plugged in the induction cooktop with this black extension cord. I'm on level 3 heat mode. Level 3, this burner goes all the way up to 7. The small one in the front, the rear burner goes up to 10. But when I'm cooking, I only cook on level 3. So I don't know what all the other heat levels are for. But level 3 seems like plenty of heat for me to do what I need to do. So we're going to cook up this beef. I'm going to chop some onion here. And I got some potatoes. I got some little mini potatoes here from Safeway. So I did cut my kitchen cutting board in half. So now I have a separate cutting board so I can leave the other one in the sink. And I went ahead and sanded down the edge to kind of smooth it out. And then I put the oil on the cut edge. So it looks really good. Super happy with it. Let's open up the potato bag. The mini potato medley. We got some purple, some white, and we got a red. We got 3 types. Actually, I'll do 2 white because whatever I don't eat tonight, I'll have it in the morning with breakfast. We're just going to chop up these potatoes. I should probably wash them first, but I'm not going to do that. It's a conscious decision I'm making. They're going to get cooked in the Instant Pot with steam. You know, boiling steam, so it should disinfect anything that might be living on them. I guess they could have chemicals or something, but I'm just not going to bother with it. I don't have my water pump set up yet, so it's just kind of, it's not convenient to really wash these, and I just don't really, the bottom line is I just don't really care, so we're just going to chop them up as is, throw them in the bowl. Just risk it. We're just going to live life dangerously tonight. We're not going to wash the potatoes. Sorry, Mom. These are super cool. Like the inside of the potato is actually purple. This is van life build in progress cooking. I got the Instant Pot on the floor. I'm just going to drop that in. Turn it on. I'm going to pressure cook it on high for 5 minutes right next to the 1/2-inch PVC pipe. We're making it happen. The one thing you can't say about Nomad Brad is you can't say he's scared of, you know, living in an unfinished box truck. Let's take a look at the power station and see what kind of energy we're using. 1,300 watts right now. So that's about 700. I know that Instant Pot is a 700 watt Instant Pot. And then the induction cooker must be using about 600 watts. So like I mentioned, it's not completely thawed. I fudged up. I should have... So I actually took this beef, look how frozen it is. I actually took this beef out of the freezer last night and put it in the fridge, but I should have checked on it today, and I should have just left it in the sink for a couple hours to totally defrost. Dang, it's still pretty frozen, that sucks. But I didn't, and now I'm paying the price. Man. Okay, we're just gonna
Look at this chunk of beef.
we're just gonna break off like the pieces that are not terribly frozen. Oh man. So this is still a block. I peeled off the edge pieces that were mostly thawed. All right, so I got a grocery bag. We're just gonna put this frozen beef chunk back in the fridge, and I'll remember tomorrow to pull it out, let it thaw. I think I'll do this hot and spicy Cajun style. Use some of this. And I'm gonna break it up a little bit with the knife. All these spices, they get all, I'm sure these are old as hell. I buy them at like TJ Maxx or Ross. This one actually came from Ross. It was $3.99. So I'm sure they're super old. So it's a little bit stuck together, but we're gonna make it happen. Put some spices on. Woo! Heavy duty is what we did. So we got the beef kind of just simmering. We put some spices on it. It's cooking in butter. And so previously I've been using beef tallow, and then I ran out. And so I decided to just use butter. And actually, I really like the flavor of cooking in butter. So I think I'm going to keep it up. Pretty happy with it. So we'll throw this onion in. One thing about me when I'm cooking, I'm always cleaning as I cook. I like to have a clean space, clean living space, clean kitchen, clean everything. And it's so much easier to clean as you go rather than cooking and making a huge mess. And then when you're done, then you have to like tackle all this stuff. So I like to clean as I go. And then also, it's like right now it's kind of downtime anyway because the potatoes are cooking, the meat's cooking, the onions are grilling. There's really nothing for me to do anyway. So it's like I might as well just clean up. We'll put this onion back in the fridge. I keep my onion in a Pyrex. I was having problems with it stinking up the fridge because I was just wrapping it in like the little plastic bag that they give you, you know, like in the produce section. I was just keeping it wrapped in that in the fridge in the crisper. But I noticed my whole fridge was starting to smell like onion. And so now I just keep it in that Tupperware container and problem solved. No more onion smell. And actually it was really bad because it got to the point that because it was in the crisper, I had it next to my apples. And even my apples started to have like an onion bite to them. It was a bad time. Check this out. I want to just show you how this beef is looking. Look at that. It's got a nice little char going to it. You can see all the seasoning. We got some onions in there. It actually looks really, really tasty. I'm excited. There's another NPR right next to me there. It looks so tiny without a box on it. Just that little flatbed. That looks pretty good. Pretty juicy. See if it'll focus on that. There it is. Looking good. It's got a little crust on it. Mmm. It's all about the seasoning. That's so good. It's a little spicy. Mmm. So good. Tender, juicy. Yeah, I like that. That little bit of like caramelizing, little bit of crust that's on it. Look at that. That looks so good. Delicious. Mmm. So good. Right in front of the Lowe's. And I'll say it again, that's just a beautiful benefit of always having your home with you everywhere you go. Whatever you need, wherever you want to do, you can do it all. You can do it all in your tiny home on wheels. So, you know, the cool thing was I spent all day in town, went to Home Depot, went to Lowe's, worked on a little bit of a project. And then, you know, when I was done, I took a little break. I laid down for a little bit, kind of checked on the internet, make sure the internet's okay. And shockingly, the internet is just fine without me. Anyway, and then I decided I was a little hungry. And so now I get to make dinner, and a delicious steak dinner, affordable, tasty. And what's cool is otherwise, you know, if I was out here and just in a regular vehicle, I would have to go buy food somewhere, go to a restaurant. And odds are, if I was going to go to a restaurant to eat dinner, I probably wouldn't buy a steak. You know, I probably wouldn't pay 30 or 40 bucks for a steak at a restaurant. So that means I'd be eating, you know, something a little less healthy, a little less nutritious. But man, you know, when you got the house with you, the kitchen with you, you can just go ahead and cook up a tasty, delicious, healthy, nutritious meal. Oof. There she is. They're steaming. I don't know if you guys can see that steam coming off the taters, but there they are. Look at that, looking delicious. And then see, now that cutting board, now that I cut it in half, you know, I can leave the cutting board in one side, and then I have this little drying rack here. So like when I took this Instant Pot lid off, which still has a bunch of water and condensation on it, just set it down right there, let it drip into the sink. And so we're just going to scoop out half of these potatoes into this dish, and that'll be breakfast. We're going to put these beef pieces in the other half of the bowl. Look at that. That's pretty good meat assortment right there. And then I'm going to scrape all of this stuff right on top of my dinner. This is all the like little onion scraps and the seasoning. Just honestly, this is the most delicious part of the whole thing. Plus butter sauce. Let's go. So there we go. There's a bite. Purple potato, beef, and then that onion spice mix. Oh, I lost the potato. What's crazy too is it doesn't take much. I mean, this is just potato, beef, some salt and pepper, some butter, and then that spicy seasoning that I got from Ross. That's all this is, but the flavor in this is 10 out of 10. It's so good. Kids getting crazy in the parking lot. And then again, I'm going to clean up this cutting board a little bit while it's hot and juicy so it doesn't get all crusty and weird. So we'll wipe that down a little bit. And I'm also going to wipe down the skillet a little bit. So the thing is, just in general, if you're living this lifestyle, water is your most scarce resource. But water is the biggest kind of inconvenience to have to go find it, fill your tank, that type of thing. Of course, you know, it depends. Everybody's situation will be a little different, but in general, water is like probably the most precious resource. Anyway, so I try to conserve it as much as I can. So when I'm cleaning dishes, I always wipe everything out first with a paper towel. Wipe everything with a paper towel, and then see how clean it gets. And if it gets really clean, then you don't need soap and water. You can spray it down with vinegar, white vinegar water in a spray bottle, and that will disinfect, you know, whatever might need to be disinfected. But it saves you from having to waste a lot of water using soap and water. And now I do use soap and water still. Sometimes it just depends what I'm working on. But yeah, that's something else you guys can do just to conserve. If you just keep a little spray bottle of vinegar and water, and then just spray down like a bowl or a Tupperware or something, wipe it out, you're good to go. You can see there's still a little, see that? There's like a little residue on it. But for the most part, we got all the big stuff out. So what that means now is I can come back, and this is enameled cast iron, so you can clean this with soap and water. It's the enamel coating, it's fine. But I will come back with a little soap and water and just let it sit in the bottom and then wipe it out. But the nice thing is, because I got all the big chunks, you know, I don't have to do any heavy duty washing and scrubbing and rinsing. So anyway, that's just part of my madness. All right, so that's it. We got the kitchen prep area cleaned up. Look at that. Looking good. Let's have a seat at the table. Let's have a seat at the table and enjoy this beautiful evening in a Lowe's parking lot in northern Arizona. Beautiful evening. We got a nice little sunset. Look at that. And for those of you that are curious, after we just cooked dinner, we started with a pretty high battery. I think it was 99%. We finished off at 88% capacity. No power coming in, 62 watts going out. The only thing running right now is my Starlink, so that's Starlink power out, but 88% battery charge. The Apex 300 is an awesome unit. The only challenge is that I don't have any of the expansion batteries for it. And so the built-in battery is only like 2,300 watt hours or something like that. And so you really need at least 5,000 watt hours, you know, for it to be like a viable power, you know, energy storage system. 10,000 watt hours is even better. So the new system I'm installing is 10,000 watt hours, but this one is definitely on the small side of battery capacity. So if you were going to use an Apex 300 as your primary power station, all you have to do is just get a battery bank for it, a larger expansion battery, and you'll be good to go. We'll just leave that here. All right, and we're ready to go. Box truck is all cleaned out, and also we'll slide the fridge locked. What's interesting is it's actually brighter outside than it is in the box truck. I guess part of that could be because of the parking lot lights that are on. But yeah, it definitely feels brighter out here. We're up and running. You know what's really cool? I had no idea what color the dash lights were in this rig until I drove at night for the first time a few weeks ago. Check it out. The dash lights are orange. That's Nomad Brad orange. Even the little gear shifter lights are orange. That's pretty cool. I like it. It's an old school dash gauge cluster, but I like the orange. Pretty cool. Look at that. 100 miles an hour. That's my top speed, baby. So all the way down here at the end of the parking lot, this is the spot I scoped out the other day. I haven't stayed here before overnight, but when I was here the other day, there was a whole bunch of vans, a whole bunch of white vans parked down here. And the parking lot in general, it's pretty quiet, pretty empty. And so I thought I could probably just kind of sneak up in here and you know, I don't completely blend in because they're like regular passenger vans, but man, if you were doing van life in a white van, this would be the spot to stay because there's just a ton of white vans. But you'll see them right here. There they are, a whole bunch of white vans. So I'm just gonna park over here. So here's a shot of the parking lot. Pretty empty looking this way. It's a couple parking lot lamps, but otherwise, not much going on. I think that'll be a good spot to spend the night. Just hop up in. Put the keys by the door. So the windows, you can see the windows are totally black from the outside looking in, but from the inside looking out with the tint, I can still see everything, see what's happening. But the minute you turn lights on in here, then the tint doesn't do anything. People can see right in. So we'll leave the lights off for the evening. Nomad Brad's just gonna chill out. Gonna pull out my laptop, watch a little YouTube, check on my favorite creators. That's it for this evening. I appreciate you guys for hanging out. Good morning, friends. It is Nomad Brad coming to you the next day from Nomad Dad's base camp, Northern Arizona. This is where I'm going to be working for the next couple days, wrapping up some projects, show you guys what we're working on. So we got the mini split. I washed it down, took the grill off, and I'm going to be blacking out the mini split to hopefully match the black tank and my heat shield. I'm also going to black out that line set cover, the electrical, try to just kind of have everything blend in for my trip down to California. Little homage to the old Solar service mobile, huh? And here's a final look at the progress on the box truck. We got the freshwater tank, flat black, painted, blends right in, looks like a tool storage box. And then underneath here, we got our 3-stage water filtration, our SureFlow accumulator tank, and water pump. We got the water line going up, over, down the other side. Over here we got our water fill, both our gravity feed and our city water, and that's going through the side, jogs over, comes down. Water pipes right there, I spray painted it black as well, kind of just blend it in. So that comes down, dumps into my 1.5 inch water fill. I got a pipe up here, this is going to be conduit for my electrical. And then over here, we got the blacked out mini split. 2 coats of flat black, 2 coats of clear coat. Looking pretty good. We got the Nomad Brad sticker on there. I peeled off the Mr. Cool. And so that's looking pretty good, pretty stealthy. Here's the water line. I need to go get a couple fittings to connect this, and then I can fire up the water pump, test all that out. And here's the other side of that PVC pipe that's gonna, or this is actually, and then this right here, this is my temporary drain line, but that's gonna ultimately be plumbed in to my black tank. So there we are, a couple days work, looking good, looking stealthy. I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for next week. I'm gonna be hitting the road, heading west to San Diego, California. Next week, the adventures begin. We got a pretty big road trip ahead of us. Who knows how it's gonna go, but stay tuned and find out. You're gonna find out right here with me. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Nomad Brad signing out. Peace.